Yeah?
A lot of nice quotes and beautiful. It would be a nice interview. Censored on YouTube.
Oh God, I care more but give less fucks. It's a good one, huh?
Yeah.
So my name's Marinke van Riet. I'm 52 years old, born and raised in the Netherlands, but lived and worked in New York, London, Mali, Niger, South Africa, Tanzania, Kenya, and currently living in Den Haag. I'm an anthropologist by training, not married, living on my own, enjoying life to the fullest, and at the moment I'm consulting through my own little enterprise.
Marinka, can you tell me a little bit about your life experience? What are the milestones in your life?
I'm 52, so I already have quite a few milestones behind my name. So I'm an anthropologist by training. And actually, I would say even my study was probably my first bigger life story. I was brought up in the south of the Netherlands, in quite a small village, in a protected environment, in a very safe environment, middle-class family, pharmacy family, 2 brothers. I was the only girl, the youngest one. And I knew one thing, I wanted to leave. I wanted to see something of the world. And that study, anthropology, offered me that chance to do so. So I lived in 3 countries in Africa during my studies, and that has been quite transformative. I knew the world was so much bigger than the Netherlands. The second milestone was when I was living in New York. I have witnessed September 11, the attack on the trade towers. I've lost 2 friends, so that was obviously a big one. A couple of years later, my marriage, I was married in New York, my marriage hit the rocks. And that for me, again, was quite a big transformative moment where I had to go deep. I left New York with 2 suitcases and moved to London on my own. The only thing I had was a job, and I had to rebuild my life. And I don't always like that saying, but for me it worked at the time. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I started to live more independently, more authentically, and feeling much happier in my own skin. In 2016, I made the big decision to move back to the Netherlands and also to be closer to my dad. And that journey to have my dad pass away in my arms was another transformative moment, because I'm no Florence Nightingale. I'm not sort of like a very good care giver. And I'm very grateful to my dad to always teach me life lessons. And in those last couple of years of his life, he taught me quite an important life lesson, that I am able to care and to deeply care. And that for me was another transformative moment, but a grateful one, because it changed my whole perspective on dignified living and dignified dying. So, I know the reason why you're doing this sort of assignment is to find out a little bit how people are going through existential crisis. I've had many, and and I would actually say enjoy them.
Enjoy them. Why would you say that?
Yeah, because they're moments of growth. In Dutch we say without friction no shine, and use those moments of friction to go deep, to find out who you really are, but also be fine with not knowing the answer. A lot of people are not fine with not knowing, and I think these times, particularly now where the world is heading to, not knowing is fine. Not knowing will allow you to stay curious, will allow you or will actually unleash your potential to do an exercise like this. Yeah.
I do also want to bring up another topic because I know you personally. I know, how you work, your personality, your daily life, how you dress. You do present, or you do give an impression that you are such a brave woman. You don't fit into the boxes. And where does that come from?
It comes from a feeling of safety and feeling very secure in my own skin. And it comes from a strong sense of not wanting to conform. But again, it's that non-conformity out of a feeling of feeling safe and secure and comfortable with who I am. I think there's one person who I can really, I should really honor, and it's a lover of mine from West Africa who I've spent the last 10 years with, but not sort of like in a typical marriage or in a typical relationship situation. But we also work together on anti-corruption. And so that sense of bravery came a lot from him. He is a Muslim. I am not so much a big fan of organized religion, but he did teach me how to trust life more, and again, not knowing. And even in our relationship, not always knowing where it would go or how it would unfold. And he taught me just to trust life a bit more, because I wanted to be in control. I wanted to sort of always like, okay, where do I go next? I wanted to plan. And sort of he was, he's a bit more inshallah, and he's a little bit more fatalistic. And that has helped me to let go, to trust life a bit more. And also be surprised by life. I'm not very religious, but I do have faith that life will work out okay, even though it may throw big events at me. But I know,
You are a radical person, I have to say. I admire you a lot. What does this these radical attitudes mean to you?
Yeah, I'm now at an age that I couldn't live differently anymore. And I have a couple of core values, and one of those core values is integrity. And so a lot of the decisions I make are based on integrity. It needs to feel good. And sometimes your gut feeling, you need to trust that a bit more. But for me, integrity, authenticity, and a purpose-driven life.
Have you found your purpose of life?
God, I just went to New York and we had a whole big discussion with a small group of radical feminists that I have known for 25 years. My bitches, we call each other. We just had another discussion about purpose. From an older sister to a younger brother, I wanted to give you the advice as well, and a word of wisdom, that your purpose can change. Your purpose can change as your context, or your line of thinking, or your own gut feeling, or your own interest can change. So there's not a single purpose in life. And that's fine. So different decades, different eras, different times of your life can sometimes trigger different purposes, and embrace that. Don't stick to one purpose, because sometimes that can translate into a plan. Oh, I need to have a plan. When you do a purpose, you need to have a plan. And sometimes life throws you, all sorts of things your way. Have I found my purpose? No, not yet. There's a couple. I think my biggest drive is that I want to be part of the movement for the good in this world. So I want to be part of a social justice movement, and I've touched upon different aspects within social justice.
You you talk about this topic with your feminist groups.
Yeah.
You also talk about the purpose might change.
Yeah.
Depends on the context.
Yeah.
You mentioned about movements.
Yeah.
it sounded to me, it feels like, you know, your purpose of life has a lot to do also with, you know, the political environment,
Yeah.
the whole societal environment.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yes, I would agree with that.
Yes.
But and again, this is also maybe a little bit of a life lesson. We are all filled with contradictions.
Tell me about that.
You want to belong, and you want to have that sort of safe home, and that maybe one partner that that's always there. But then you also want the adventure and the like the sex life or the Kama Sutra. But I've learned, and I want my lover always called me la gauche caviar. So I'm very left wing, but I also like my caviar. And I think that's a perfect. I like beautiful shoes, but I also like activism. And if I were to combine, and maybe that's also a nice purpose, if I were to combine, I love artivism. I love using art, using expression to already show that change from within. So I'm very much now working on using fashion as a way to express. So I'm doing quite a bit of upcycling now. And I also think we need to be a lot more creative and have a lot more fun. I've read a recent quote which I can completely see myself in is, if you want to change the world, throw a bigger party. And I think it's so brilliant. Because throwing bigger parties also bringing different people together.
Yes.
Yeah, but yeah, we do need to have fun, because having fun is also taking care of yourself and taking care of others. So that's also what I want to bring.
I really love that you show there's some kind of complexity in human lives and on experience in all the things that we do. It's not only this or that.
No.
But sometimes it's like both, or sometimes it's none. Authenticity, you mentioned about this word. Is there a way to be more authentic?
And I think the last 10 years I've become more radical in my own authenticity. And maybe that's also just growing older. Another saying, I like my own sayings, I care more but give less fucks. Isn't that a good one? I really care deeply where the world is going, but I couldn't give a fuck about what other people say about me. And that's again sort of that radical authenticity.
I love it.
Yeah, it's really, and that's I think the beauty of getting older. But it's and then beautiful saying from Desmond Tutu: if you stand out from the crowd, it's because you're carried on their shoulders. And I have felt so carried in both my work with voice, but also with the work with Publish What You Pay, fighting for transparency and accountability in the gas, oil and mining industry. I have been carried on giant shoulders, and that has allowed me to become more authentic.
Have you ever felt uncomfortable or unease being yourself?
Yeah, even now in the Netherlands. Even now, because it's lonely to be authentic and to be non-conformist. Yes, it can be lonely. But I like to change that narrative a little bit more in solitude or in alone time rather than lonely, because it doesn't often have the same connotation. But it's
you are able to be yourself. I think that's actually not that easy, because it requires work, it requires courage, it requires a lot of safety and security about yourself to be yourself. So take it as a good thing. It's a good thing, because
I do take it, but it's hard work.
So what can you say to people who are seeking for their purpose of life?
My biggest advice would be to be patient with yourself and to trust life. Love yourself. I would say as much sex, solo sex, whatever sex you want. good food and sex are really kind of important to to feel good about it. Seriously, it's the energy going in, it's the energy going out. And use those moments of discomfort to grow again without friction, no shine. And I also think we need to be a bit more in solidarity with one another. It's sisterhood for sister good, which is also the name of my social enterprise. But yeah, that's really the spirit I want to give.